how long this video will let me um, record, but uh, I'm back to my old phone. If that is making sense. I broke my other phone, so. But this video honestly has to do with my thought process on, I don't know, I guess, a higher power, I guess, and, a matter of speaking, the things that go bump in the night. Because, like, unless you're atheist or, what's the other one? Atheist and, pretty much atheist. Every other religion pretty much believes in some form of otherworldly belief between, magical creatures to the gods to God, angels and demons. And, depending on how you look at it from, family curses to deeds of your past that you haven't, asked for forgiveness and they're weighing you down to spirits from the other side messing with you. Um, every religion pretty much believes the foundation of truth on what really is, the truth to everything, the meaning of life, the purpose of our being, destiny, fate. Um, that's what I've come to understand and believe that. We have our different ways of telling the story, um, different points of views, different angles. But when you get down to the basics of the story, we're all telling the very same story. Um, some people, are talking about how, like, I have the first edition, I have the first copy, da 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 da. I have the oldest copy. Before, I have the hidden, chapter that was lot forgotten. And I think that's why we look into the shroud. You know, why we look at certain things. We crave honestly and desire to know the truth. Um, but especially in this time period, in this day and age, um, I just don't see seeing human, and that's one of like about Christianity because and a few other religions, because they just believe in the book and follow it and don't question it too far because like and I do believe if you question and question and question everything, it's a really long rabbit hole, and it really doesn't have an end per se in my personal belief. When you just go down the rabbit hole, there's no real end to the the truth to everything. It's a very big library. Um, but that's my personal belief. Um, I believe that father and mother. I believe that is the very. I believe every religion per se, or at least the ones I follow and believe in. Um, they all talk about God and they all talk about um, Christianity calls them angels. What I think Greeks call them demigods. Um, so I think every culture. I think some even use Nephilim in aspects. Which those are pretty much I think honestly like they're all the same. I think honestly Ra in a matter of speaking and Odin are like angels in Christianity. I just think they're angels that were known to that region where angels were known here and here and um, Ra and Anubis and all that they were known over there. And I think they all I think they all pretty much work for the same father of everything. Um, you know, mother and father, which I mean, when you're actually the God, the God, the Father of everything from time and space to being to form to shape to creation to destruction, light and darkness. Um, he's beyond, everything. So I do think he is mother and father. I just think, because I do believe that in our human brain, the best way to explain it, I would have to say, is the divine plan is rooted in patriarchy beliefs. It is a patriarchy foundation belief. Women have their roles and all that. They're very important in the truth of how everything is. It's just there's a hierarchy, and men are on top. um, but when it comes to God, I just don't see him being confined to the definition of what we consider male and female. You know, I know that doesn't mean he's trans. I know somebody out there will probably watch this and try to say, "Oh, see, he thinks it too," but no, because I don't. Because one, I don't believe in the whole. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the whole trans shit. Um, and honestly, in my personal belief with science and genetics and biology, um, like the only way that I can actually see the possibility of mankind being able to um, change genders and sex and all that is if we come to understand how to break down every atom and molecule in our DNA and rewrite our own DNA. Like that's the only way that it's possible. All right. Other than that, especially with the science we have now, no, no. This is not healthy. All right. And then just because people don't want to go along with this delusion does not mean they hate you. All right. We love you. We love you. I mean, fuck. I mean, I don't hate any of these. I mean, I feel sorry for you. That you actually believe this and that you feel so alone that you and so lost that you think you're this and that. Um, yeah, but so I just wanted that out there. I'm not calling God a trans. I just think he. He is a woman like an alchemist is an alchemist. You know, um, he forms. He forms things out of nothing, but which is him. He because he uses himself pretty much. That's why I think the whole belief about how God is everywhere and in everything is because he is. He is the very essence that gives everything from you and me. Majority more. He's put the most work in us. Father, mother. He's put the most work in us. That's why we are at the top of the food chain where you have everything from the animals to insects to the bacteria to the very atoms that form that chair and this couch that I'm sitting on. At a energy and frequency, way of thinking about shit. Is pretty much what that means. Why God is in everything. Um, he's got the ultimate surround sound system and to see everything. and every culture and religion and way of life came to believe this. Vikings used to listen to the weather, and if it cracked it and whipped a certain way, it was the blessings of the gods for battle or whatever. Let's say Christianity. They used to, we follow I think omens or I know we follow signs. Um, we have our own in a way supernatural beliefs that we believe in. Um, all cultures do, all religions do. It's our way of making sense of the things we don't understand. But it wasn't that too long ago. Like we used to really crave, knowing the unknown. But when it comes to the shit, now I'm like just rambling, but that's my whole belief. I mean, on religion and belief and creation and life in the beginning. Um, but I have my own view on how humanity began. I've pretty much majority of my belief does center around Christianity. Um, but after looking into things and other religions and throughout history and actually really like thought about it, let it like sink in my head and digest before I actually just I mean I've been thinking all this shit for years, well actually now decades almost, at least a decade and a half to 2 decades. Um, and I've come to I don't really say I wouldn't. I mean I know some people would consider me rewriting the Bible, and following my own way instead of his way. But I use what I've come to believe as his morals and values and as guidelines to shape my opinions, my beliefs. They're based off of what I believe he is saying, and I follow that, you so I mean, if anything, I kind of like put it like as like I mean, it's no different than honestly praying to God. I think about like what a being of incredible power. You know, I mean, we all watch comic books, Marvel comics, DC, and all that shit, and you know, that's no different in a matter of speaking. I mean, if you think about that kind of shit and put it into reality, um, or at least most of it, or at least some of the basics and all that, alien life form. What would alien life form outside of of Earth be like? Um, and me personally, I do believe there is alien life out there. Um, I mean, I believe the basics of the humanoid gene. I would have to say is what is the starting point of life out there. But throughout the planets, I think as different atmospheres and landscapes and all that shape and all that, it the Darwin law rules out the weak and helps the strong survive, and a new life form is formed. And I mean, it might have 5 toes, but it might have claws. It might have, you know, different kind of skin than us. It might not be able to handle our sun rays because of their planet. I think that's my whole belief on aliens. If they were to be true. Um, so you break down the basics of what makes a human, like 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 heart. Ears, eyes, nose, mouth, how we reproduce, and you take all those basics, and then just have fun with it. Think about like all the different kind of life forms that could be out there that are just based off of those basics. What if he has 2 hearts? It's kind of like that's actually a little bit more of the splicing DNA with that whole episode on Supernatural. The family that kidnaps people and cuts out body parts. They give themselves like 2 hearts and extra muscles here and there and whatnot, so they become really like strong. But I mean, I think there's like uh, a lot of people believe in witchcraft and all that, and I do at to a point. I have my own personal beliefs on witchcraft. I do think I think certain beings of the past, because I also do believe that I don't believe that humans made the pyramids. Um, that's also why I believe that magic is it's archaic, old way. technology built based off of ancient, divine, unnatural knowledge that was given to mankind. Um, whether that be a person with a bird for a head, or a demon, or an alien. I mean, I don't know. But these are just my beliefs and opinions about, what I believe, And I'm not, I mean, I love having conversations about religion, belief, faith, your opinions about history and politics and all that. And I mean, if you can actually just like, check your emotions and this and all that, and be open minded, and want to have a good, deep conversation, you know, I mean, that's what I'm down for. I love having conversations, and like, I'm not really here to change your mind. And if but I mean, I'm also very passionate. So I'm like, okay, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. And if you feel the same, cool. All right, we don't see eye to eye on that. I mean, you and me seeing that. I mean, obviously in life, obviously there's. I do believe that majority of things that um, majority of things I do think society and civilization and mankind should probably see the same way, especially if we're going to interact with each other. In my opinion, but when it comes down to like in your home country per se, and out and about in the sea and land, or I mean, obviously we have to. We will probably never agree to disagree per se. I don't like that phrase. Um, I don't do that shit. Um, I mean, I'm cool. You want to. I mean, I'm not here for war, but that's what's needed per se. But I prefer the communication and dialogue approach. At least let's just talk. Let's see if we can come to a understanding. And if it takes a year, 4 years, 10, 20. I mean, I would think honestly, spending money on getting together, every year, or every 6 months, or every 5 years, or every whatever, every 20, that discuss you know our interactions and um, tolerance with each other, instead of actually going to war. I mean, fighting. I mean, over what exactly? I don't really know. I mean, I know. I mean, there's many things that depending on who you ask, whatnot. There's many things that we're fighting over: oil, land, bad blood from the past, religious beliefs. I mean, there's many reasons why we're at each other's throats, but like, why? What is all this conflict doing? I mean, really. But I just, that's my belief on that. I know I'm all over the place. Um, believe. I mean, father, mother. Um, yeah, I think that's about where I'm gonna end it. This should be enough there for you guys to pick through.